This week's edition of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by GameV.com,
Dr. Pepper and MLB Pro,
and Netflix.
No wired controllers! What's wired controllers doing in this closet when I told you no wired controllers ever?
Three rad dudes with nothing better to do get abducted by the crew of the Starship Alpha 2. They're from the planet Q, which, due to a space-time loop, is stuck in 82 and must be rescued. They need our heroes to discuss the latest news and give their reviews of games and movies too. Sure hope you're not confused. We swear this is all true, not just the premise too. The Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad Show.
Hello and welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode 60. I'm Kathy Albrecht.
I'm Claudia Canada.
I'm Diane Trachtenberg.
And we're here in lovely Los Angeles, ready to do the show on this Mother's Day weekend.
Wait, we never said do the show. We said come and visit the show.
Oh, we thought it was our show.
It's our
Clearly
show.
our show.
It's our show, isn't it?
You guys
Their own background, too.
just sit down.
We
sit
love you
down.
for Mother's Day, but you can't do our show.
No, thank you for coming and everything. Dan, the background?
The background, first of all, is incredible, even though it's not our
That may be my
Totally
new, my
mom
new
show?
favorite. See, you know, we should have made the call. I mean, I'm glad that they're here,
My
but
mom's called Serenity and had her make them a background. Crazy that they did that.
that is crazy.
Other day.
Shall we punch it out, Dan?
Let's do it.
All right.
Happy Mother's Day!
This week in movies, we're talking about Speed Racer. Whoopsh. It's from the Wachowski brothers, who debuted with a movie called Bound, which was awesome and visually inventive, but completely overlooked because they then went on to make The Matrix.
Although if you watch Bound, there are literally shots that are like directly in Matrix that I was like, oh my god, this shot's amazing. And I watched Bound and I was like, oh, they did that before.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. Bound is a great movie.
Yeah.
The Matrix, which is basically a generation's Star Wars. It's
Sure.
a generation's
Star Wars.
reason for going into filmmaking. They teach classes about the philosophies that it
Well,
inspired.
created a lot of technologies in the movie industry, but you were saying a lot of it was still being used.
It certainly caused a lot of gimmicks for future films and video games.
Yes. If Bullet Time ever existed,
right.
it's because of the Wachowski brothers.
And then it had some sequels that were sort of regarded as popularly regarded as not very good movies. And now we have their
I
next.
like those movies, by the way.
Oh, man,
Right,
I
yeah,
thought
we
they
talked.
were- I thought they
I'm
were
down like the
hot
third one.
poop.
Yeah.
Hot poop on a stick.
But now we have Speed Racer. So, is it the return of the Wachowskis? I don't know. Speed Racer is about it was based on a popular anime. And it was popular in the
70s-ish?
70s in
Yeah.
America. I saw it on MTV when they started
Re-airing them
redoing it
in the 90s.
Right. But it's about Speed Racer who goes on these races with all these different henchmen, and him and his family, played by John Goodman and Susan Sarandon.
A monkey.
A monkey.
Chip Chip.
And
or
Chim Chim.
Chim.
And Racer X, played by Matthew Fox, as Adam West, as Batman, as Racer X. But
He felt more Michael Keaton to me, but
Yes.
go ahead.
And it's a family film. Their thesis statement for making this movie, as we were talking about in the car, it is PG, but their whole thing was like, we're gonna make a G-rated action movie, a live-action cartoon. What did you think, Alex?
I thought for the most part it was bad. I thought there were some sort of interesting elements. There were scenes that were just like, I don't care. I mean, it was just so. I think the end sort of race thing moments were really cool, the like Grand Prix stuff, but the driving was just like, I mean, once you get into it, it's like, oh, this is cool. It makes more sense than I thought it would from the trailer, but it doesn't make enough sense for me to think that I was wrong about how this movie was going to turn out. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yes.
Let's just say that moment was brought to you by the Wachowski brothers. Of course, because we're on a green screen and now we're all over the thing. I mean, it was a mess. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for the people in it. I mean, towards the end, it kind of warmed up to me a little bit. Not enough for me to ever want to see it again or recommend it to anybody who's not 4. You know what I mean? I didn't realize it was going to be a kids movie. I didn't know that their thesis was a G-rated action movie. But I also thought that it wasn't. It was like this kids movie, and then stuff happened that would scare children. You know what I mean? Like, so I just didn't. I don't know.
That's every kind of kids movie, sort of.
Wow.
I am going to disagree.
Please,
big
feel free.
time. I guess I went in with low expectations, and I was blown away by this movie. I thought it was absolutely a return to form for the Wachowskis. I thought it was a new kind of storytelling, a new kind of visual storytelling that is bold and inventive. And the first 20 minutes of this movie, there's such a complex narrative told to you, and the way it's told to you, it's flashbacks and where we are, and time is messed with, but it was done with such skill that I never had to worry about not knowing where I was or when I was or who these people were. And it's almost like the idea that George Lucas talked about when he was making the prequel movies, where technology is a tool that now allows us to break down any kind of barrier with film. And I think Zemeckis talked a little bit about this when he was doing
Beowulf.
Yeah. Is that now there's no limit. However we can go in things, it's almost as if the camera never stops moving and it's only one shot. But the movie also has this wonderful heart to it. And there's these great, I know you didn't work for you, but for me, I cared about these people. Every single character had a moment where they're really talking from the heart, and they're saying really good, important, interesting things, and I teared up at the end. I was really impressed with this movie.
Tiebreaker?
So, tiebreaker, rubber band boy?
Rubber Stampy? A mix of both.
Well, what do you guys think?
I think you liked it.
What do I think that you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Well, because of the visual filmmaking,
Make a
you
bet.
may
Make a
let
bet.
it-
Make a wager.
I don't care.
What do you
Go.
think?
No, just go.
Okay. Jeff is right. Well, actually, you're wrong.
What? You toyed with me.
You said you thought that I liked it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Me too, man.
You kidding me? Did you see the same film? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
The first 20 the exposition, the way it was handled, you said so perfectly. And I gotta say, I didn't just tear up at the end.
Yeah.
When the first kind of moment happens, where
The mom moment?
Well, no,
Are you kidding me? That was the worst scene in
Apropos
filmmaking
of the
history.
end of his
That was the
race.
worst scene ever.
The end
All
of
right.
his race. The end of Emil Hirsch's first
done
opening
hosting this
race.
show with
It
you
was like,
morons.
I loved the movie. It finally, for me, delivered on the promise of like the Spy Kids sequels or Dick Tracy, where they always said it's a live-action comic book or it's a live-action cartoon, and it always felt hammy and over the top,
Right.
and this was hammy
This
and
was
over the
boring.
top, but it somehow straddled that line where it worked, and I cared about those.
The scene with Emil Hirsch and his mother on his bed was boring.
No.
Boring.
I was
End
bawling.
of story.
I was bawling.
Jeez.
It was
I want to
not
know. I can't
boring,
wait
bawling.
to hear what everybody else who saw it thinks.
Yeah, go ahead. You were saying.
I like the. I will say the racing. The racing stuff was more entertaining than I thought. I thought it was just going to be a I don't know what's happening hodgepodge of that. So I thought they did a fairly decent job with that, but I just felt like all the characters were like flat and bland and blank, and it was so like, brr, brr, you know what I mean?
man, I
With
thought
the
that
little kid, by the way, not young Speed Racer, terrible.
Yeah, no, young Speed Racer, terrible.
But little Spriddle,
And
Spriddle,
brother
awesome.
Rex Racer, terrible. Young Speed
Racer.
Racer and Brother Speed Racer. The whole beginning,
It's
I'm like,
like-
these guys are horrible. How did they what is this? I don't know where I am. This is stupid.
When they did the Flintstones movies, and they always try to do that like hyper color,
Both John
hyper
Goodman
real
movies, by the way.
Yes, this is finally those movies, but good.
Yeah.
You know, and
Mm.
if if this is the way the summer is gonna go, when we've had Iron Man and Speed Racer, this might be the best summer blockbuster season in recent memory. I mean, already I think this
Sex
movie.
in the City is going to be amazing.
Already,
Well,
I think
there's
this.
enough good stuff to overlook this not good movie. That's all I'm saying.
Hater pants. Wearing
I
them.
did. If it's not good, the pants come on. That's what happens. And if it's
okay.
great, the pants come on.
So some big news this week. BioShock, the critically regarded and Jeff
Yes, regarded.
best game of the year,
Yes.
is now being made into a movie.
Uwe Boll.
I don't know.
Hey, it's big news if that happens.
Is being made into a movie. The director attached is Gore Verbinski, who did Ring and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Also, being made into a movie is Uncharted. Here's the deals. Uncharted is just they're going to make a movie. There's
Right.
no director,
Sure.
screenwriter, or whatever.
Tell us the deals.
Now, I want to ask you guys. Well, first of all, the forum members talking about the subject are really holding Jeff to task on what he said about BioShock being a story that could only be told as a game. And that's why it was so incredible. So I want to follow up with you on that.
Yeah.
But also, and we may have already talked about this in a show in this segment, but you know, for me, like Uncharted being made into a movie, I thought the game was like as good as a movie. You know what I mean? But
You always said the story was not good if
it was
just
actually
a movie. Right.
it would be a cheesy sci-fi.
Wait, can we have a moment of silence for the ice cream man?
I don't know if they'll hear it.
As he left. He left before that moment happened.
But you know, it's sort of like as a game. This is sort of a hybrid video game movie talk here.
Yeah.
But as a game, it's so cool because it feels so cinematic.
Right.
But if it was directly transliterated into
Which of
a
course we
movie-
know it won't be. I mean, there's no way they're gonna like take the script from the game and
Right,
put it,
well,
plop
of
it in.
course.
the
I've
film.
gone into Uncharted Zone, but
Well, with that said, before Uncharted even came out, you were excited
know.
about making it into a movie.
I know. I want it to be a great movie. And
Right.
I think
It could be.
It
I
could
know.
be.
I know. I'm
It could
excited
be.
for it.
But
It could be
used
the
to be
Mummy,
like a
but good.
kid-
I just feel.
Well, but it used to be a kid with a backpack, more kid than it's just basically an allegory for Indiana Jones now. I mean, it's like totally.
Or modern day. But it's cool to have that we can get a modern day Indiana Jones if Nathan Fillion were to play.
Let me speak to BioShock real fast because
BioShock.
you
Here you go.
brought
took your
it-
glove off and you smacked me in the face.
That's
Or
me
the forum
handing him
members did.
BioShock to talk to. Good luck.
Okay, so first of all, Gore Verbinski, you know, he made a big deal. I think he was at one of the trade shows, I can't remember which, and made a big deal about how, you know, movies and video games should be more like happening like this. And he had made a big spiel about the Pirates video game and how bad it was and how he wants to be more involved in interactive storytelling. So it's interesting to me that his way of approaching that is to take a game that's already great and now make it into a movie. Interesting. But the point that you brought up specifically, I think this can possibly make a great movie, and it's interesting that he's also saying it's going to be rated R, and that he's going to push the little sisters aspect as far as he can to the edge, which is really interesting to me.
Well, it's not like the game
But
was PG.
It's not right. It's not going to be. It's not going to be the same story. It's going to be a new kind of experience that happens in this really interesting world that has been created for this game. I still do stand by my statement.
Hopefully.
I suspect.
Right,
Of
right,
course,
right.
I don't know, but I stand by my statement. And I think the way the game plays and the story that is imparted by the game will not land in the same way. Even if they did like a moment-to-moment translation on the screen, it won't land in the same way because you are not actively participating.
Right.
And it's all about active participation in order to have it land in the way it does. So, I mean, I'm excited by the movie. I think the visual and the iconography of the game will translate really well into the film, but I don't think it will have that same. If they even do the same story, it won't feel because it's all about first person. It's all about.
I would be shocked if they didn't do even a similar story because then it's like why? I mean, the story is so about the surroundings and where you are. I mean, unless they do like a past like the S hitting the A as it led up to the person coming and finding it.
Well, I hope that it's a story that's set in the world, and I think this might be what you're saying. I think if they literally were to transcribe the game story into the movie, it would feel a lot like the Silent Hill movie,
Right.
where it's just the exploration of this world.
Right.
Because
Right.
without the big moments that happen in the game, it would just be a whatever plot point in a movie. It's
Right.
crazy because of how you were playing.
Right.
Right.
Which is totally what your point is, and I agree with you very much. And I also think Gore Verbinski does have a great eye for this world, because I think there's elements
Well, and you loved
to
his
Ring, and
last
there's elements
movie,
to Pirates.
the Curse of the Pearl.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
amazing.
Yeah.
World's End,
Well, you know,
whatever the hell.
I did not hate
Sarcasm
the
meter.
art direction and the cinematography and his eye. What I did not like was the writing, which hopefully,
Gore
although
was
those
not-
guys have written very good movies as well.
Anyway.
But
Cool.
yeah. Okay. Cool. Excellent.
That was nice. Nice wrap up. We're doing this this segment called Raised on Rad because we have our moms all here in the room.
Yeah.
We decided that we would try to grill them as much as we could to get personally scarring information.
When did you know that that was the kind of the stuff that he was into? How young was he?
I would say he was 2 years old and he watched the first Star Wars.
Yeah.
When Jeff played with Bill and Patrick and stuff, what would they do?
They would mostly play Star Wars, definitely, big time Star Wars.
What about toys? Were there any specific toys that he was into?
Well, the He-Man guys, I've got them with me. I mean, He-Man guys, Castle Grayskull.
yeah.
I mean, like
love
you
it.
said, every one of them. I think Skeletor was the most important, don't you think?
Oh, wow.
Oh gosh, I remember those toys so well.
Guys, we need to play later.
Yeah, too.
Yeah.
And then Karate Kid was huge.
Yeah.
I have the
What'd you say?
Karate
I need, like,
Kid
3
thing.
things, but I
I mean,
think
I
you can.
have. Well,
He has the Karate
first of
Kid.
all, this was a whole year's worth. Karate Kid.
He wore it around?
He wore this around his head whenever he could. He wore this everywhere and all the time. I haven't even untied it. When he was little, you know, he would always dress up as underoos, like you say. Those
Oh,
were
yeah.
huge, important.
fan.
Did he have a
very important.
favorite underoos that you remember, or was he superheroes or Star Wars or what?
Definitely superheroes for sure.
Yeah.
Superman, definitely.
Do you remember him wearing his underoos? Was this something he
Oh,
loved?
he
or?
loved his underoos.
Yeah, it was a big under.
Thank God for underoos.
That's our tagline for
Yeah,
the whole show.
it is. That's
Thank God for
Thank God for underoos. Do you remember him being a very big G.I. Joe fan?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh, yes. G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe is a big thing. And the Hulk and The Greatest American Hero. We always watch The Greatest American Hero.
I just love
yeah.
I love this picture here. Halloween 1983. Jeff, G.I. Joe, bad guy, Cobra. Very descriptive.
What was Jeff like?
And Courtney was a bedtime Care Bear, which is also genius.
Do you have any memory of him dressing up as his own superhero? Because this picture, you look quite uncertain of whether or not he should be wearing
Go
that.
out in the
Yeah.
I do remember that. He was always creatively coming up with, I don't know if we want superhero costumes. And one of the things we had gotten, and I think it was at a yard sale, we found this book. We found this little book about cowboys. And it was like a manual for cowboys. which
But
was
for
so
kids, I mean,
wonderful.
it's like,
How
we
to be
still
a
have that
cowboy.
book. Yeah.
And there was this one page that was literally up at the top. It said, "What do cowboys wear?"
Yeah.
And it went through.
Steve's lost his mind.
Just wait, it gets better. If that makes any sense.
It went through everything. It described the spurs, which of course you can see in one of those pictures I had to construct out of tinfoil to put around his boots, which he wore. And it had all of it included the vest, by the way, which
Yep,
is why
that's
you
why I
had that
always wear the vest, yep.
Yeah, the vest and the hat and the whole bit. I remember I went in one night to just tuck him in, and before I went to bed, and there he was lying down, and you know his cowboy hat was there and everything. He's lying down, fast asleep, and with his hands on the open book on the page. What do cowboys wear?
Because I need to know for the next
See,
day.
That's what he would go to sleep looking at. What did cowboys wear?
Yeah.
Visions of sugar plums dancing in your head.
Dude, cowboys. How about cowboys?
But did you get a sense of him as a performer at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, basically, he started making jokes at the dinner table when he was about 3 years old. Didn't make a lot of sense. Not sure.
Still
what
doesn't.
now.
In what ways did he talk about movies? Was he obsessed with it? Did he always ask you to
was.
go to the movies, or
He always wanted to go to the movies, and he always wanted to describe the movie after he saw it.
How did
always
that?
wanted to tell the entire movie, every single word in the movie he wanted to relay. And I wish I had let him say more of it. Sometimes I said, okay, summarize, you know.
Summarize.
He just would start telling exactly what he just saw from beginning to end.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's so
yes.
great.
And then the next day he would tell it, and then the next day he would tell it, and it was just like continual.
What's that?
This is when he was very little.
I see the Mr. Miyagi
did
stickers,
this, yeah.
which is
We had
genius.
stickers, and it was just, this is called the Scooby-Doo Gremlin Book movie.
This is the sticker book movie? This is the sticker book thing?
Scooby-Doo Gremlin Book movie. He would say, and I would write.
Oh my
He
god.
couldn't even write yet. By Daniel.
Mother, I'm taking dictation. Begin. Inspiration.
Gremlin book movie.
Whoa, wow, that was a fast drive gizmo. Don't forget Kate, or don't forget Kate, or I don't know.
was his
Don't forget
girlfriend in
Kate.
the ends.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would understand better than I would.
Storyboards. Storyboards.
Okay.
There are
Yeah.
storyboards.
Rough, you know.
Okay. Uh-oh,
Blueprint for the
Gizmo.
Previs.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Gizmo. Here comes Stripe.
Yeah. Now, was he really into video games too, or was
He
that?
was into video games.
Yeah.
Video games.
Nintendo. Mom?
Right, Nintendo,
Right.
that Mario business, you know.
The Mario business. I remember him
Yeah.
being in that
Yeah,
business.
obsessed.
But he was into Legos. He used to love to build these Legos, and boy, don't anybody touch them. One time, this was even later in life, one time we had, I think it was my nephew was over there when my nephew was little, and my nephew needed something to play with, and so I went in to Jeff. I think Jeff was off at college.
I love this. Keep going.
And I brought out the bag. Jeff had an old laundry bag that was full of Legos, and
Right.
that's what he used to use. You know, I mean, everything was dumped in there.
We've heard him talk of the Legos.
And I brought out the Legos for my nephew and my nephew played with them and everything. And I think then the next time Jeff came home from college, he said, "Who played with my Legos?" The only time I ever remember getting upset with him was the story he told last week when he cut his sister's hair, and I thought he should know better than that. Of course, he was only 5, but I still think he should have known that he couldn't cut her hair and I couldn't put it back on. But
It's funny, the way he tells it, he was actually the victim of the story.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Now, do you
Awesome.
remember a certain time when you poured a glass of milk over his head?
He tells it a little differently.
It's so embarrassing. I mean, it's so weird because it was such an odd thing for me to do, and I don't even remember. I mean, I remembered that, but it was also so like out of character. I mean, and I think I was just trying to get a point across.
I think the point sank in.
Dude, it sunk. I don't know what it was,
did
but.
sink in apparently.
Yeah. What about his comic book thing? Did that start early? Because
that started very early on too. I used to
he's
take
a Marvel
him to.
zombie from way back.
I actually took him to his first Comic-Con, stood in line for the autographs.
Like what you said with the comics, I mean, I drove him to the store, I sat outside, or I would go in. Even if I would go in, there was nothing for me to read. I mean, I read everything. And there was nothing, I just had to wait for him, and there was nothing there for a grown-up. It was just, who, I didn't even know who these people were. He was,
Genius.
you know.
When did his addiction to computers start?
That was early on too, because his father is addicted to computers too, built computers from the ground. He and his dad built computers.
Yeah, we
from
had
the
a
ground
Radio
up.
Shack TRS-80.
That's really cool.
Did he ever try to include, like, Mom, will you come play this game with me, or whatever? And
I feel terrible now.
So those were our mothers.
Clearly, we
describing-
were all raised on rad.
I'm actually pretty surprised at how,
Similar
Themes. Yeah, themes run through.
Lots
threads.
of themes.
Yeah.
And even weird stuff like went to private school, elementary school first, then went to public school. I was sort of surprised at that. Left-handed. The rad hand of justice. I don't know why that came out.
It's interesting also to see, there's things that resonate from your side, but to see their perspective on
It's a different
those
beast.
things and the things that were really super important to you, and they get the fact that you communicated that it was important to you, but
Right.
they didn't ever really get why it was important to you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
fun.
really cool. Although I feel like I missed out on the comic books thing. At least my
Well, we're
mom
catching
doesn't
you up
have
right
to
now.
sit in the car for so long. I'm sure there was some other thing that she had to sit in the car for, but well, that's cool. Well,
Bossy.
dude,
Happy Mother's Day.
Punchies.
So we're continuing our racing episode of TRS with a review of Mario Kart for the Wii. If you've been, again, living under a rock for the last 20 years, Mario Kart is the Nintendo kart racing game where racing almost takes a back seat to crazy item collection and battling. You can throw turtle shells at each other, knock each other off the track, and this one is for the first one for the Wii. It adds a steering wheel that comes in the box, so motion-controlled controls. It also adds online play for the first time to the series, but it also takes a few things away from the series. The Double Dash, which was the last iteration of this title on the GameCube, had features like being able to have two people on a cart at the same time.
Oh, right, I forgot about it. And then switch the driver and the weapon person, right?
Yeah, that's all been removed. So there's some give and some take. Alex, we all played. We had a rousing session. If you are following our Twitter feed, you saw us talk about it.
Rousing about it. I had a blast. I loved it. This is the first. It's the first kart game that I played, except I had the DS game for a while,
which is awesome.
Which is really great, and then you can actually play wirelessly with only one cartridge, which is genius. I had a blast. I mean, the steering wheel thing is more of a gimmick than anything. I don't know if you could really, I mean, maybe it's just me that didn't master it, and maybe you can master it and somehow it's better, but we'll probably all agree it was just sort of gimmicky. But the gameplay itself was so much fun. So much fun. And I even actually liked the versus stuff. Or battle stuff.
I know you like that because you were
We did the coins. The coins are the one where you have the the balloon mode.
Yeah.
Rocked the balloon mode, my friends. Just saying. Yeah, it's super fun. I mean, it's what you want in a kart racing game. You can have your friends around. Would I play this by myself? No.
Right.
Never.
Okay.
Stupid.
Danny?
Yeah. So Mario Kart for me was like GoldenEye and Mario Kart. Those were, and Zelda, but
You mean from a multiplayer perspective?
no,
or
I guess from N64.
Yeah.
The things what I spent my time doing that year that was out, or the few years that was out, was playing GoldenEye with Bond.
Now
or Mario Kart.
is that like friends coming over and playing those games, or is that
me and my
you
buddy, me and my friend?
Yeah.
Or me and two other guys.
So it wasn't ever like you by yourself playing Mario Kart?
No.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree with Alex. I'll say right now, I would never play Mario Kart. And even on the DS, I had Yoshi's Island on the DS, and I don't know, racing games.
Would you get
that by
online and
myself?
play it? Because now we can.
I know. Well, we might
they
be
have voice chat,
online
though?
situation.
Do they have voice
No, that's what the 360 is for.
Yeah.
People are like setting up their 360 and just turning it on and starting a chat room and getting on and having playing their Wii.
That's sad. Sad for Nintendo. But kids are protected.
I really like the interactive levels. I think that there was some of the they have a lot of retro levels, which I think is a great idea, but I kind of wished there was it took up a lot of space, because we didn't unlock plenty of things, but
There was half the race track
Was retro levels.
we've never unlocked.
Oh, right.
There was 4 that were locked and 4 that were unlocked.
Very true. I enjoyed it, but Mario Kart, it's not doing for me what it did when I was younger. I don't know if I can define what.
Speak a little bit about the new controls, because that's the biggest new feature.
Oh, just in general, the way you control it, or the wheel?
Yeah, the wheel. And maybe you didn't like the wheel. That's all you want to say about that?
It was slow. It was
Because there's something to be said about, Nintendo's new position is, hey, it's accessible. And, I could see much easier than handing a nunchuck and a Wiimote to somebody. I could, my mom,
Right.
somebody that isn't versed in how you control these with analog, you could hand them the wheel, and it seems like they could. I understand
I do this, and it goes.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
That's,
but
that's cool for that.
we're not those people.
Yeah, you don't.
I mean,
There's nothing.
It's not the response from the sprites on the screen to me moving my thumb does not equal me turning. It doesn't feel like it's the same way I'm kind of controlling.
You don't feel like you have as much control.
As much control.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think also about the fact, I just heard this statistic on NPR actually, where they were talking about the fact that because of the fact that there's an older generation of people that are purchasing the Wii that were not gamers. They're completely satisfied with Wii Sports.
Yeah.
And so they haven't been buying the actual games, and so the game sales of the Wii are actually not doing as well at all compared to the fact that you still can't go into a Best Buy around the. I mean, I can't go.
Well,
we can't go into a Best Buy and buy a Wii.
Yeah, actually, when I was on One Up Yours, I had a whole rant about that very thing, and people can get offended when it seems like you're saying, oh, it's just a gimmick. It's equivalent to buying one of those things you see in the mall.
Mad Cat. Oh, sorry.
Where it's like tennis, and it's the tennis racket, and it hooks up to your TV.
Right.
But I think there's something to that of what people are buying is the experience of Wii Sports first.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely.
But this isn't really a referendum on the Wii. I mean, to speak about Mario Kart specifically, it's a very difficult game to review, I think, from my perspective, because it's what you want. I mean, it's what you're buying. If you set out to buy Mario Kart, this is what you get.
Yeah.
And it does everything it does fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From somebody that has played that before and experienced that before, okay, why do I need it again?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a backwards compatible machine. I could get Double Dash and put it in, and I would have just as much fun.
Probably look about it exactly the same too.
Yeah. And I mean, as much as the wheel thing, there was some fun to it. I would definitely preferred, like you guys, the nunchuck and the analog control. But the people who are excited about Mario Kart and go out and buy it, you can't say, oh, it's not a good game, because
they're gonna love it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're gonna love it.
It's lovable. It's just not something that I love, because I want Nintendo to they added motorcycles in this one, but there's not real much difference to the motorcycle. I mean, you can pop wheelies.
It's not
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was very underwhelmed by the whole experience, but I don't hold that against the game necessarily.
And it's interesting because I didn't have such an experience with Mario Kart. For me, maybe this was the feelings you guys had on the N64. I was sort of having going, oh my God, my friends are here, and hey, we're racing.
Yeah.
Shooting stuff.
To answer your question, would you want to play online? There's something about Mario Kart with being in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just fun.
There's something about the Wii about being in the room.
Yeah.
The whole experience of the Wii being in the same room together. And
Yeah, I wouldn't play tennis online with anybody else, because that's just half the battle is watching them go.
and I mean, to be honest, that's a very Japanese game development perspective, is that they don't do online to the same extent that Americans do yet. It is about playing in the same room with each other.
Which is funny because they have higher quality bandwidth.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about another game that was a video that came out this week.
Please.
That may very well be Dan's prayers answered. Your favorite.
It's my Echochrome. It's my new Echo. It's my new favorite thing that's
coming out. Yeah, it's called Mirror's Edge, and it's an EA game. It's being developed by DICE, and those are the guys that did the Battlefield series on the PC. And the concept for this game is that it's parkour the game. So it's that free running
with guns.
Well, but not. I mean,
it doesn't look like you have guns.
The developers have said that this is very much an action adventure game and not a first-person shooter.
Right. Yeah.
Which is
I got that. Definitely got
music
that.
to Dan's ears, I'm sure.
Right.
So they say that there are guns in the game and you can use guns, but they're not. It's not about shooting.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So the concept of the game, right, is that you'll get in these grooves, and it's about stringing together combinations of finding the right line through things, traversing the terrain. There's all kinds of interesting.
Like Stuntman.
It's like first-person Jet Set Radio Future with no rollerblades.
Right.
Kind of, yeah. And combat.
You try to find the grooves.
You play this character Faith, and it's a dystopian future. Anyway, Dan, we should talk to you first, because I'm sure that you're
a parkour man.
Of parkour in general.
Right.
Style.
Trying ever to make a commercial with the guys that were
But also you love
researched and.
But also you love
kind of
exploration games and traversing terrain.
Prince
type
of
game.
Persia
and Plus even.
Right, and Plus exactly. So I'm stoked. First of all, graphics look amazing. The unfortunate thing is it's a PC game, right?
No, it's also PS3 and 360. It's an Unreal Engine 3 game.
Oh, okay. Because the thing I saw, it said PC, and I was like, upset.
What it was being shown on.
So thank you for that.
Well, you've just infuriated a bunch of PC gamers.
No, only because I don't have a PC.
Right.
It's very Alex. My manners right now. No, because I'm. Is that?
No,
yeah.
Yeah.
But
what do you, I mean, how is this about me?
I'm just saying.
I know. We just finished.
Okay. I'm so excited for this game. I love this this sport or this thing that people do, this free running. The milieu, this is very geometrical and symmetrical, and like it's exactly what parkour is. It's about breaking lines and using lines and navigating in a very interesting way. The one thing that I'm interested in and concerned about or whatever is I would have
puke while playing?
No, I would have thought this would have been a third-person game. Because the cool thing about parkour is seeing that structure, steps and gap and building, and seeing the guy jump graphically, like jump from the thing to thing. That's what's cool about it, you know? In first-person mode,
That's sort of been done. It's been done, right?
well, Assassin's Creed came very
Assassin's
close to
Creed,
it.
Right, but not a game about that.
Yeah, but it's not exactly.
It's always
whatever
one thing
they're
that the guy
doing.
can do, yeah.
I don't know, like, what's cool, like, the cool thing is I want to see the flip. I don't want to do the flip and be in it. I want to, like, see the guy do that cool thing, creating a cool combo. Like, if you were doing Mortal Kombat, when you do cool combos or whatever, or God of War, if that was first person, is that fun? Because you don't see.
That was called Breakdown.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, with the fist.
But I'm ready for it to blow my mind, and I just can't conceptualialize how it will be good.
Yeah.
Alex, you excited?
I am see Dan review equal Alex review.
See, that's what
Literally, no,
that's
literally.
what I'm saying.
Because I mean, I watched it and I'm like, super into parkour from way back skis. We were really trying to get the guys on the screensavers to do parkour back before it was in, you know, the James Bond movie and all that crud. I love the idea that it's a game that is not about killing people or doing something, you know, that kind of thing. It's about the freedom and running and exploring, and I like that idea. And how do I get up this stuff? Because I also do, I mean, dude, we were all kids in the 80s looking at buildings and going, if I jump here and I go here, I can grab that. And then you see somebody doing it and you're like, I could have done that. Why did I not try that? But thankfully we're all here and safe. But I completely agree with Dan. Yeah. When somebody said parkour video game, I was like, when I saw the video, I was like, no, wrong. Because you don't even know it's parkour until you see like once or twice. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just, you're just running. Yeah. You're just running and floating a little bit, and somehow buttons make you up over things. I mean, that's it. If you don't get that third-person view, you lose the art of parkour. The reason why parkour is amazing is you see a guy and you're like, there's no way, oh my God, his foot hit that thing that I didn't even know was there. Yeah. That's what's amazing about parkour. To just see a camera floating through space and I think is going to lose it. That said, I'm excited to see the demo to see what I think. What about you?
Yeah, no, I understand those concerns. I just like the fact that there's something new being,
I agree with that.
And I love the look of it. We haven't talked at all about that, but the lighting, and evidently they've done a lot of work on the Unreal Engine 3 to make it look different and interesting, and it really seems like a new kind of experience. And if they can nail it, I'm really excited to see that.
It's going to be all about the demo. This is a game that I can say my interest level depends solely on the demo. Not many games. Echo Chrome, I think, was a game like that. You know, paper, super Uchi Kuchi. What's that weird
Super
PS3?
Uchi-Kuchi.
What's that PS3?
Little
Happy
Little
People?
Big Planet.
Sunshine.
Little Big
Planet. Again, all about the demo.
Yeah.
Which has been delayed, we found out this week. Also, I just want to say at the end of this segment, get on making the Speed Racer video game, because it's, I mean...
You can just get it, F1
F0.
or
F0, but the...
I know,
seriously,
I know.
F0 with springs.
I mean, they literally had in that movie, like, press A to do that.
I know, totally, dude.
Well, before we get to our email, we do want to thank our sponsors. GameV.com is the place to go for video game videos. Video game videos is so catchy on the interwebs. Head to GameV.com. You can upload your videos, see other videos that people have posted. There's a clan functionality, so you can upload videos as a group, and you can also request videos. So if there's a section of the video game you can't quite get through, you can send in a request and somebody will hopefully do it for you.
Super cool.
Very, very, very cool. GameV.com.
And we have a brand new sponsor this week.
What?
Dr. Pepper and the MLG Major League Gaming competition. It's going to happen in San Diego in June 14th.
And we will be there Saturday.
We will be there. The professional gaming group Straight Rippin'
has decided to challenge
us, these guys with the
Throwing
thumbs.
down the gauntlet.
They have challenged us to a frag fest.
It's a 4-on-4
And we know
battle royale.
we know we're gonna get our proverbial behinds handed to us.
Correct, on a platter.
So here's what we want to do. We want to get a ringer. And if you are planning to be in San Diego at that time and are planning to go to the event,
We want you
By
on
the
our
way,
team.
plan to be in San Diego
Yeah.
for the event.
Yeah.
yeah. If you're going to the MLG anyway and you think you got the skills to pay the bills, then we want you as our fourth member
Correct.
on our team to fight
Correct.
them. So you're gonna go to revision3.com/contest and you're gonna submit yourself and you're gonna say, I'm gonna be in San Diego, I can definitely make it to this event,
Yep.
and I wanna help out the Totally Rad Show guys to kick some ass.
Yes.
So,
And thank you, Dr. Pepper, for making all
Yes,
that
and
happen.
thank you, Dr. Pepper.
Perfect.
For that.
Also,
Be a pepper.
Netflix sponsoring the
love
show.
that
Netflix is, of course, online renting, where they have 75,000 titles, many Blu-ray titles. We all highly recommend Bound, which we talked about earlier.
Yes, great movie.
Yes.
A great movie if you dug The Matrix and never saw the Wachowskis' earlier movies, or if you dug Speed Racer.
We also recommend Mr. Mom.
Yes.
Sure.
Father's Day.
Amazing.
We love that movie. There's 40 shipment centers, so you get your movie basically the next day. Plans start at $4.99 and up. But there's a 2-week free trial, and to get that, you go to www.netflix.com/TRS.
You always guess.
Or Totally Red. No, TRS.
Let's say TRS and the Chiron will answer the
60
question.
times
Yes.
we've done
And the
that.
wwws are important.
Yes, they
And
are.
we also want to thank our last sponsor of the world is them.
Yes, right, for donating. We've been flooded with donations. It's amazing.
It's
beer is
humbling.
flowing like wine. And but
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. And before we hit an email, you
Yeah,
have
I
a
want to
little
say one last
announcement.
thing. Some of you know that I'm in an improv group live performance group, and I have a show this Saturday, the 17th, I believe, is Saturday, May 17th, I think. It's Saturday of this week, and it is part of the LA Comedy Festival. So if you go to our website, if you go to our forums, I'm going to post information there. You can also check out returningchamps.com. That's my improv group. So if you're in LA, come down and see us.
Nice. Now to the emails, gentlemen.
Yep.
On this Mother's Day show, we have a Mother's Day question, sort of. This is from Maysam. I remember he said how to pronounce his name, though that is not in that email. My mom was extremely anti-gaming. She never allowed games into the house, so I was never exposed to games until I was about 10, when my aunt, what do you guys say?
Aunt.
I say aunt too.
Aunt. I think I say aunt, but I don't know why. I'm British. Aunt gave us her old NES she used to have as a kid, which in and of itself is weird.
Makes me feel old.
I'm very old.
Yeah.
Then in 2003, my cousin gave his Xbox to us. Although my mother had strongly disapproved of games before, she had softened to the kid-friendly NES and N64 to allow an Xbox into our house. So my question to you is this. Did you ever have problems convincing your parents to allow video games, non-educational, we're not talking about educational games,
Right.
like Math Blaster,
Or
into...
what was that chick, the typing tutor, Mary?
Mary had a little tutor?
Ah, it doesn't matter.
Into the house, and if so, how did you convince them to allow them? Your fan, Maysan. That's
Well,
a great question.
We have our moms
We have
in
our moms
studio
here.
right
You
now.
can negate anything.
I was just about to say, and now we're gonna say something about them, and they can tell us how wrong or correct we are. Jeffrey.
Well, I was very fortunate, thank you, Mom, that gaming was not excluded from our house. It was not restricted. I actually, as a young kid, got a job reviewing games for the newspaper. And
that's right, yeah.
So it sort of became like my job. So that's how I talked them into letting me get both a SNES and a Genesis at the same time. So I was like, I have to have it for
So
the
right
job.
now, if you're a kid, start a video game review blog. Doesn't matter if anybody watches it or reads it.
But also, I think games didn't have the negative connotations that they have now then, because
Yeah.
there wasn't quite. I mean, we had a orange thing
That ate ghosts,
destroying
right.
blue dots.
Yeah, it wasn't
Right.
hookers being stabbed in the face.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a little
a little different. What about you, Danny?
I certainly did have the period where I played the heck out of Math Blaster and Where in the World is Carmen San Diego, because
Oregon
those
Trail,
were the games
anybody?
that I was not- I wasn't allowed to play.
Dude, I was doing the Math Blaster theme
I don't
song.
remember that.
Oh,
Oh, I do remember that.
And then it's like remote
which is
control.
also
It's a classical thing.
Beethoven.
Something.
But
Just check out the clip.
yeah, but then once video games were allowed in the house, which was Nintendo at one point, that was all good. There were limits on movies and TV shows. I wasn't allowed to watch Full House.
Interesting.
Oh, I wasn't allowed to watch Dukes of Hazzard or A-Team.
I was allowed, Dukes of
I was
Hazzard,
allowed to watch
or Knight
pretty much
Rider.
anything.
Or Knight Rider. But then there became a period where
I gotta get you Knight Rider season 1 on DVD.
where the dude, I've never
amazing.
seen it. The cool thing was my
You're the
mom
soundtrack guy
really
now.
encouraged me to read. So
Oh.
comic books were free reign because as long as it was reading, it didn't matter. And then there came a point
smart.
where as long as it was art, it was okay. So I vividly remember listening to the soundtrack to Juice, which is basically a Boys in the Hood movie that came out.
Wait, with
which was-
Janet Jackson?
No, that was Poetic Justice.
Oh.
Juice and the CB4 soundtrack.
Oh, I
with
remember CB4. Yeah.
Bitches and hoes and many, but it
Yeah.
was cool because it was expressed
Straight out of Low Cash.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Wow.
I didn't know what it was.
saying that it was art, was sort of the way to win my mom over.
That was good.
Yeah.
That's how you saw.
That's why you did. I looked at all those Mapplethorpe paintings.
Exactly.
Good lord.
You just put up a Mapplethorpe. I hope you didn't.
I hope he did. You just put up
And
Jeff's
Alex?
headshot and says Mapplethorpe. For me, honestly, it was less about whether we could or couldn't have video games and more about the sort of like economic ramifications of it. So like I remember for us, it was always like, yes, you can have that, but you had to either save up your money from your allowance
Right.
or wait for a birthday or wait for Christmas, and then sometimes we would pester that the fact that the Easter Bunny should bring some sort of cartridge.
It's only
media.
fair.
I'm just saying.
The Easter Bunny needs to pull its weight.
Easter Bunny.
So your mom
Candy's all right.
Yeah, printer cartridge.
That didn't exist then.
Why is this kid covered in chocolate?
It would be a ribbon. But anyway, no. So for us, it was like, there was no sort of, that wasn't something that was not allowed in the household. It was just a matter of how do I get them. And I always remember my good friend Alex Neerman sometimes would just get games in the middle of like a month for no reason. And I was always like, what? I don't get that. How can he?
Neerman.
How does he get that? Darn you, Neerman. But anyway, so thank you so much, Mason, for sending in the question. If you'd like to send us a question, please feel free to do so. You can send it to fans@totallyradshow.com. And we want to thank our mothers.
Come on,
Come on up,
moms.
ladies. It's so cool that you guys came out.
Yes, we love you.
Yeah, it's so cool. And this is like the best Mother's Day gift I think that we could give them because I haven't
the best Mother's Day gift
gone
I could-
shopping. So I hope this works for a Mother's Day gift. It's sort of like starting a blog and just put your mom on it and then you don't need to buy stuff. Well, thank you guys so much for
Yes.
coming.
Thank you for having
I think
us.
we should do a
first
mom
ever mom-infused punch
punch out. Let's see what happens. All right, people. The magic. Everybody saw it. You caught a glimpse.
Controllers.
Really, Jeff?
We swear this is all true, not just the premise.
The whole point of counting was so that there would be unison.
Epileptic fitness.